With his approval ratings sinking below 33%, Team Biden decided to regroup and roll the president out in a press conference where he could rebrand and retool his message. But apparently, what they really decided to do was blame you. You have failed to recognize the great accomplishments, the wonderful things that he has done. Why, in fact, he has actually, quote, outperformed the expectations of a new incoming president having to deal with the kind of problems he was left to deal with. Apparently, President Biden and Team Biden think you're stupid.
Stupid is, stupid does, sir.
To help spread the word that President Biden's first year was a tremendous success, Tom Hanks has just released a brand new video in which he narrates the Biden's Getting It Better campaign. Now, why would an acclaimed, accomplished actor like Tom Hanks decide to shill for a failed lame duck presidency like the Obama-Biden administration?
I'm not a smart man.
Well, that's obvious. Here's an inspiring clip of Tom Hanks telling us that Biden really is getting it better.
America is the home of the brave. It's why we keep getting up, no matter how many times we get knocked down.
Whoa, wait. Didn't Tom Hanks already make a video like this before?
Hello, I'm Tom Hanks. The U.S. government has lost its credibility, so it's borrowing some of mine. This is Tom Hanks saying, if you're going to pick a government to trust, why not this one?
Well, Bill Maher returned on Friday night for a brand new season of Real Time on HBO, and he shared his feelings about the fact he is sick of COVID, he is sick of the mandates, and he just wants everything to go back to normal. And then he offered his insight of Tom Hanks narrating the Let's Go Biden video.
Where Tom Hanks says we are strong, we are courageous, we are resilient, and this is the land of the brave. Now put that diaper back on your face and go hide inside.
So I got here thinking, well, what is it that Biden has done that apparently they think we've missed it? So I jotted down just a few things that came to me off the top of my head. Well, he ended our energy independence in our robust oil exporting business that we had. Now we're at the mercy of OPEC, and Russia is selling oil to Europe, and the Chinese are making the Iranian government rich. Way to go, Joe. Let's not mention the gas prices at the pump. Isn't it fun paying double and triple what we were under the Trump administration for gas? Just remember, Joe did that. Home heating oil has risen 70 to 90%. That's 70 to 90% because we have ended all domestic oil exploration. We have ended our energy independence. Store shelves are empty. The border is wide open, and democratic cities are starting to look like Calcutta. Nothing but tents, crackheads, and out-of-control crime. Inflation's at a 40-year high, and I wrote this down, and I think it's pretty apropos. It makes us long for the good old Jimmy Carter days and the misery index. 160-plus days following our Afghan exit, where we saw more military personnel killed as a result of the way Biden did it, not to mention the fact that we left behind literally hundreds of Americans and Afghanis who worked with America to help us take the country in the first place, and we have left them behind enemy lines to be hunted down and executed by the Taliban. Way to go, Joe. And then, of course, what about the COVID disaster? Notice how they're changing the numbers, they're changing the mandates. They are shaming the unvaxxed. There are liberals out there writing in liberal rags that the unvaccinated should be incarcerated. They should be fined. They should be cut off from life and maybe even placed in internment camps. This is what loons on the left are saying because of the hyperbole that has come out of the Biden White House, and i.e. Dr. Fauci Stein, who, by the way, even again this week, he's rolling it back, and I'll have that in another monologue. So these are all the things that have happened under Joe Biden. The guy who looked at Donald Trump in the last debate and said 200,000 people have died of COVID under your leadership, and by any measure, that means you're not fit to lead. Well, Then using that same metric, over 600,000 people have died in 1 year under Joe Biden. But now all of a sudden, we're going to get some accurate numbers. It just happened in the UK. They have lifted all sanctions, all mandates, all lockdowns. Gone. No more vaccine passports. No more you got to get the jab. England is wide open. Why? Because under their Freedom of Information Act, they got one just like the U.S. Why, we find out that only 1,200 people in all of the United Kingdom, that's England, Wales, Scotland, only 1,200 people over 2 years actually died just of COVID. Everyone else died with COVID, but they already had something like, heart disease, cancer, etc., etc., etc. Could we ever get an accurate number of how many really died? We're told it's 800,000. Is it 80,000? Is it 8,000? What is it? I'm not stating a fact. I'm asking a question that the CDC tells us they can't answer. They know the answer. They just don't want to give the answer. So, on top of all of that, we now have Forrest Gump telling us what a great job Joe Biden has done in his first year. In fact, in the world according to Forrest Gump, he tells us we're getting back up.
More jobs were created in 2021 than in any year in the last 80 years.
That's all I have to say about that.
That is an absolute lie. I'm not going to call that an exaggeration. I'm going to call that what it is. That is an absolute lie. This revisionist rewriting of history that the Biden administration and some of the Democrats are trying to create. I watched a Democratic congressman on with Bill Maher Friday night try to say that what a phenomenal economy we have. And even Bill Maher, for all of his getting at what an absolute abject failure Joe Biden is, and he had great stuff on COVID the other night. He again totally misses it that, well, it's a good thing, though, we still, as bad as Joe Biden is, that we didn't get stuck with the tyrannical Donald Trump. Wait, tyrannical Donald Trump? Donald Trump wasn't trying to take anybody's freedom away. That's all being done by the left. And Bill, you were complaining about it all night, the difference between California, where everything is dark and gloomy and depressing, and that you even spent some of your hiatus in Florida, where it's open and free and it's a red Republican state. So this idea, though, that somehow Biden has done a miraculous job with the economy. Look how this economy is roaring back. May I fact check Forrest Gump for a moment? May I fact check the lying legacy corporate corrupt mainstream media and the left-leaning loons who are trying to spin the Joe Obama administration when it comes to the economy? The lockdown created the economic downturn. That was Trump's fatal mistake. I called it a year ahead of the election. I said the only way the Democrats can get rid of Donald Trump, they've got to manufacture a recession. Rush Limbaugh came after me and said, absolutely can't happen. The economy is way too strong. And I said, do not underestimate what the Democrats can do. 1 year later, he had to go on the air and actually apologize, say, you know what? They managed to turn the pandemic into a recession. Ba-da-da-ba-da. But here was the thing. It was what we were looking for, a V-shaped recovery. The economy didn't downturn because of extenuating circumstances around the globe that, triggered a loss in, people didn't want these particular products anymore, and there was a stock market crash or a housing bubble burst, et cetera, et cetera. No, it was rolling right along just the way it was supposed to, and we just sort of turned it off. We paused it. But there weren't any factors that created it. I hate to use this word naturally. There weren't. We artificially turned it off and we turned it back on. Well, once you turn it back on, of course it was going to come rip-roaring back. So all of these millions of jobs that Biden wants to take credit for creating, he created bullhawk. This was simply people returning back to the jobs they had pre-COVID. But because some of the lockdown nonsense, particularly in certain states, cranked out artificial money into the economy, And people began to say, hey, I think I can hold out for $20 an hour at McDonald's, man. So let's not talk about what a great economy it is right now, especially with the fact that inflation is on the rise. So if people, and many of them have, they've gotten the standard 5% salary increase this year, but inflation is on average at 6 to 8%. So even though they may make more money, it's gone before they ever see it in their paycheck. So Bill Maher, don't sit there and try to say, I am a little surprised that so many people are so down on Biden and his approval is only 33%. Look how good the economy is. See, that bullhawk is a standard Democratic talking point when there's a lib nut in the White House. Things are bad, but they tell us how wonderful they are. And yet when Donald Trump was in there and we were actually bringing jobs back from overseas, not letting our jobs be exported to other countries, when he was bringing jobs back, when wages were going up, when for the first time in a decade, Apple gave all of their employees tremendous bonuses, and that led the way for other companies to do the same thing, Donald Trump got zero credit from the media. And they kept trying to hound us day and night how bad things were, but people were loving the economy under Trump. The only hiccup was the lockdown at the direction of Anthony Fauci, who was placed there by the enemy within, race banning himself, Mike Pence. So Tommy, Forrest, whichever you prefer, you have prostituted your influence and you have been pimped by a corrupt administration to lie to the American people. Why?
I'm not a smart man.
On that, we agree. Hey, that's it for this rant. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you smack the bell, click the word all to get notification of all of my rants. And don't forget, you got to check me out on Rumble. And for you people saying, I don't see your link, you've got to, it's down below. You'll see a little something there, whether it's a description of this show or, other things. And it does say show more. Click the show more, scroll down, my link to Rumble is there.